Former San Diego Mayor Maureen O'Connor's billion-dollar gambling addiction shocked many of the people who thought they knew her. As part of a settlement agreement last week, she'll have to repay about $2 million and seek treatment. Gambling addiction has affected many San Diego families over the years. We're joined by David Peters, a family therapist from Mission Valley, to talk about some of the signs of problem gambling. So nice to meet you. Give us a sense, you're a family therapist,
Yes.
And gambling is just one of the many addictions.
One of the many addictions or compulsive behaviors that can tear a family apart. People can come into my office for marriage counseling or for depression or anxiety, and I'll find out that the spouse has a gambling addiction, or when the teenage son has a gambling addiction. So you think they're coming in for one thing, and after you really diagnose the situation, here's another core element that has to be treated.
How widespread would you say the problem is compared to, say, other big cities?
Well, it's hard to say in San Diego. With the number of gambling casinos around, certainly people in this population are more vulnerable. But now with the internet, anybody who's got a computer has access to gambling, and I treat more people who gamble on the internet than people who actually go to the casinos.
Similar to O'Connor. Now, her attorney said that she had a brain tumor that led to the addiction. What are some of the root causes of gambling addictions?
Well, addictions and compulsive behaviors can be caused by a number of factors. There are certain personality characteristics that are common to addicts and people with compulsive behaviors. Some of those are rooted in genetics. Some are rooted in early childhood development. Early childhood traumas, abuse and neglect situations, unresolved grief situations can lead to addictive or compulsive behaviors because the person inadvertently learns that if I take this drug or if I act this way, I can cause an emotion that counteracts the depression or the anxiety or the pain that I'm hiding underneath. Now, in terms of a brain tumor, very, very difficult to state if it's factually true or not. Of course, I don't know Ms. O'Connor's case at all. But a brain tumor can cause numerous changes in brain functioning and changes in personality. But it's very, very unpredictable because the brain is a complex unit. Our behavior is governed by many different parts of the brain. And so, while it's possible, I think it would be very difficult to prove.
Outside of a brain tumor, what are some of the warning signs that a person might exhibit with a problem?
Well, most people with gambling addictions or compulsions also have alcoholism, nicotine addiction, drug addiction, maybe an eating disorder. In other words, these come in clusters. There are people with what we call addictive personalities, but not all the time. Sometimes it's someone who's just realized that there's a good thrill to the gambling, and what happens in gambling is you get a hit of dopamine in the brain, and dopamine's that neurotransmitter that makes us feel so good, say when the Chargers win a game, or on the rare chance that they win a playoff. That dopamine makes us feel great, and in gambling you can feel that dopamine hit when you win, and that element itself can be addictive.
Yeah. Is this considered a medical problem? Is addiction a medical problem, or is it something else?
Well, medical problems, psychological problems are very overlapped, and it's almost impossible to really pull them apart because what happens in my mind happens in my brain. I teach my clients about brain neurology. I say, with your compulsion or your addiction, you're going to have times where you get really aroused and you can't stop. And the reason is because certain neurons in the brain fire together in a network, and neurons that fire together wire together. And what happens is that once you've thought about it, once you've felt the temptation, it's hard to shift left or right or to get out of that behavior. And what I train my clients to do is to be better observers of their emotional state, better observer of their thoughts, so that they can then shift left or right and note, oh, I'm almost going to do this, and then they know, okay, call someone, write in my journal, let me get out and get some exercise. I want them to note it and make a shift before they get into the addictive behavior itself.
We've got about 30 seconds. San Diego County has more casinos than any other place in the state. Do you think casinos should be more responsible for gambling addictions?
Well, certainly casinos do contribute money to the centers that help gambling addicts. But this becomes a philosophical challenge for the society, really. I think whenever you have casinos easily available, people who are vulnerable to addictive behavior are going to go there. They're going to lose tons of money. They're going to wipe out their family income. They could wipe out their families themselves. So it's a debate that we should all have.
David Peters is a family therapist in Mission Valley. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.